Hi, we're Team 7. This is our team members, and I'm Taeunjin. We're going to talk about our valuation on KakaoBank. Before beginning, this is our contents. First, we would like to introduce KakaoBank and analyze its business and industry so that we will make its competitive positioning clear. Next is about fundamental analysis. This is mostly about our valuation. And lastly, using our other indicators, we will talk about financial analysis and investment risks. KakaoBank was launched in 2016 and had its initial public offering in August 2021. It is a subsidiary company of Kakao. So far, it has grown into #1 banking app that leads innovation in the financial industry. It made a stunning debut, surging 79% from its IPO price on that day. However, it is not certain how its stock price will change in the future. It can continuously go up or it can go down. So we will examine its intrinsic value by relative valuation. However, it is not easy to define clearly which industry KakaoBank belongs to. In fact, KakaoBank's initial offering price was set at 39,000 won, or 56 times its book value, while PVR of other banks in Korea on average is 0.44 times. It is because KakaoBank has both characteristics of bank and another industry platform. Therefore, we will analyze in advance how KakaoBank should be categorized to start the valuation.
In order to understand which industry group KakaoBank belongs to among banks and platforms, we compared KakaoBank's profit structure with other domestic banks. KakaoBank's rate of interest accounts for 74.6%. Through this, the profit structure of KakaoBank can be judged to be similar to that of the other domestic banks in that most of their profit comes from interest. However, KakaoBank's rate of interest is about 14% point lower than the average of 88.9% of other domestic banks, showing quite a significant difference. The difference is due to the non-interest profit, particularly to the platform profit. KakaoBank provides platform services like credit card recruitment, stock account opening, and linked loan. And the profit generated from these platform businesses increased very fast, showing growth rate over 100% annually. This rapid growth shows the differentiation of KakaoBank. KakaoBank has a competitive advantage in customer acquisition and lock-in effect based on the monthly active users of KakaoTalk, about 4.5 million, which has overwhelming competitiveness in terms of a platform that makes profits based on the user base. In conclusion, KakaoBank belongs to the banking business in terms of business classification, but the value of its platform businesses cannot be ignored. In the absence of a single peer group that can evaluate a KakaoBank properly, it seems appropriate to evaluate KakaoBank's valuation by combining the two peer groups, the banking and the financial platform, given the characteristics of each industry.
And let me explain the fundamental analysis. Our team took three ratios, which are PE, PEG, and PB ratio. PE ratio can evaluate the profit per share but cannot evaluate growth potential. Thus, we used PEG ratio, which can evaluate the growth potential. And by using PB ratio, we evaluated capital efficiency. As a result, we derived significant results from PEG and PB ratio, and we would like to explain the results. First, we chose Kospi 2000 because the Korean market is the market in which KakaoBank operates. The linear regression was reasonable and KakaoBank is appropriately valued, as you can see. Like linear regression of PEG ratio and R, one of PB ratio and ROE is reasonable too, but KakaoBank is overvalued. Second, we choose banking and insurance industry because KakaoBank is divided into running a banking industry. One thing to note is that KakaoBank's values were all outliers, so linear regression analysis was performed except for KakaoBank. As a result of PEG ratio and G, we can see the negative correlation and the overvalued KakaoBank. In the case of PB ratio and ROE, the result of linear regression is reasonable too, and we can see the KakaoBank is overvalued. The last peer group is financial platform because KakaoBank operates a financial platform business. The result of linear regression analysis of PEG ratio and G is reasonable, and KakaoBank is overvalued compared to platform companies. The result is the same in the PB and ROE linear regression analysis. We derived the significant regression equation, and KakaoBank is overvalued.
In previous regressions, KakaoBank was positioned above the trend line. In other words, it can be said that KakaoBank is overvalued compared to the Kospi 200, banking industries, and financial platform industries. To get more precise comparison, we made a new equation. As analyzed in part 1, KakaoBank's revenue consists of 89% from bank-based and 11% from platform-based revenue. And we combined the trend line derived from the regression of banking and financial platform industries by the corresponding ratio. We estimated that this trend line would be the properly valued position of KakaoBank. As you see, KakaoBank is positioned above the combined trend line in both graphs. Even in these graphs, it can be judged that KakaoBank is overvalued. There may be several reasons for the overvaluation of KakaoBank. First, it shares a platform with Kakao. Unlike commercial bank, which have to continually attract online customers, KakaoBank can utilize Kakao's customers. Second, it can be interpreted that the future growth potential from financial platform is excessively reflected in the market. That is, this may be over-reflecting future expectations. Third, it should be taken into account that KakaoBank has only been listed for 3 months. The stock price surge might be due to intentionally underestimating the IPO price to avoid the winner's curse. Since the stock is undervalued, it is natural for stock to rise. In general, the market says the sufficient time is needed before the stock price stabilizes after the IPO. Considering all of analysis above, we can make an investment decision. Although growth potential of internet bank and huge platform lead KakaoBank's successful IPO, we judged KakaoBank's value to be overvalued in the market. Therefore, we present sell decision for the KakaoBank as of November 17th.
Moving on, as a last part, we're going to present financial analysis and risk factors to consider. On one hand, we can think about 3 factors of profitability, soundness, and capital adequacy. When looking at ROA and NIM, profitability is improving. In the terms of loan soundness, sub-fixed loan ratio and delinquency rate is maintained at a similar level as before, but the bad debt ratio is increasing. In the case of BIS, the figure has risen significantly as capital has increased enormously through recent IPO. This can also be the basis for growing loans later on. Next, there is 3 risk factors to consider. First one is regulatory risk. Regulations on household loans are highly likely to impose restrictions on KakaoBank's business and adversely affect its profitability. In fact, the rate of increase in household loans has slowed in third quarter of this year as household loan management has been tightened. Second one is operational risk. Regulations on the parent company can limit the operation and long-term growth of KakaoBank. In September, government regulations on domestic platform companies begin. Kakao's M&A, investment, and IPO were put on hold, and its growth slowed in the long run. This effect is expected to affect KakaoBank as well. Third one is interest rate risk. As KakaoBank is essentially a bank, risk increase when the interest rate change. Currently, interest rates have rebounded in an upcycle, and rising interest rates are generally viewed as an advantage. However, a rise in interest rates can be a risk, leading to a loss in the valuation of financial assets held by bank. As KakaoBank is a bank with large financial assets, it will be directly affected by interest rates. This is all we have prepared for today. Thank you for listening.